name is Wenneker. I hope you can all hear me. Also in the back. Is that okay? Yeah? Alright. And yeah, like Robin already said, I'm a barista and coffee roaster based in Amsterdam. I used to be the owner of Head First Coffee Roasters. Espresso bar and micro roastery based in Amsterdam. Some of you might still know it. I see some familiar faces. Unfortunately, it closed down a few months ago. Enough about that. I started 8 years ago with making coffee on this machine here. It's a very small Italian espresso machine. It's very hard to make a very good cup of coffee with this. And this is where it all started for me. I got really interested in it, and I wanted to know more about it. And at that time, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. The only thing I did know, I wanted to do something for myself, create my own business. And I started actually at the coffee company in Amsterdam. They had an ad that said 3 things. Do you want to open your own shop? Do you want to learn about coffee? And do you have 3 years worth of time? I had all those things and I wanted to do all those things. So I started working there. I managed the shop there in The Hague for about 2 years, which was a lot of fun. And back then the coffee scene was a little bit different than it is today. In coffee you have a few waves, we call them. You have the first, the second and the third wave. And back then we were still mostly in the second wave. And it means that the first wave of coffee was just your grandma's coffee, just a black coffee pot. It was just, the purpose of it was just to wake up. Then we went into the second wave, and that was mostly Starbucks. So coffee, you can go into the shop and you can order a coffee, and it's made especially for you. Mostly espresso based, and you can have syrup in it, or extra hot, extra foam, that kind of stuff. Small, medium, large, big. And when I started with at the coffee company, we were just going to the third wave. And the third wave was more about the actual taste of the coffee itself. So without sugar, without syrups, without anything else, just the flavor of the coffee. And I wanted to learn more about that. So what did I do? I bought this, an old fire truck. I think probably the best buy I ever did. Pretty cool. Doesn't look much, but I transformed it into this. The espresso bus. I built an espresso machine inside, and I went to festivals and like events and that kind of stuff. Also just parking on the street sometimes, and just to sell coffee. And the good thing about this was, well, this was all owned by me. I could choose which coffee I used. I could choose how I made it. I could choose who I wanted to serve it to. Yeah, this is pretty good. Sorry. So this is what I did for like 2 years. Experimented a lot with coffee, spoke with a lot of people about coffee as well. And then it was time for the next step, because when you make coffee, you only contribute to like a third of the whole thing. Making coffee is only one part. You also have to roast it, and it also grows somewhere. And the roasting part was like coming up at that time. Also in Amsterdam, you had a few small roasters, but not a lot. And we wanted to do that as well. And I say we, I also mean the guy sitting over there, Jonathan. We started Head First, actually this one here, a shop that roasts coffee and also brews coffee combined in one shop. And that was still kind of new back then. You had some small roasters, and you had some espresso bars, some cafes. But none of them did like both of it, which is pretty cool, because you could come in, you could have a coffee, and in the back you could see how it was roasted, all in one building basically. This is pretty cool. Yeah, this is in Amsterdam. Amsterdam, pretty big coffee scene at the moment. Before that, we used to look at London, used to look at New York, used to look at Seattle, Portland. Those were like the inspiring people for us. Everything that happened there, yeah, we wanted to do that as well. And now in Amsterdam is also pretty good actually. We don't look up to the other cities as much as we used to, which is a good thing, I think. Yeah, so now it's closed. That's another part about Amsterdam. It make it pretty hard for you to have your cafe there. We were shut down because it was too busy, I guess, or it was too much fun. I don't know. I won't go into details. But yeah, so then I didn't have anything to do. So that was the next chapter for me, the World Barista Championships. And this is like the Olympics for making coffee. It sounds kind of weird when I say this to people, like, you got a competition for making coffee, and they're like, what? Is this coffee? But there's a pretty big world behind all this. What you have to do, this is what you do it for, one of these trophies. What you have to do, you have 4 judges in front of you on the table, and you have to make 4 espressos for them, 4 milk beverages, and 4 signature drinks. And a signature drink can be anything you want, as long as it has 1 espresso and there's no alcohol in it. You can add all ingredients you would like. You have to give a presentation about your coffee in 15 minutes of time. You have to talk about your coffee, you have to make coffee in the same time. You have to be very neatly behind the bar, very well organized, and the coffee has to taste exactly the way you describe it to the judges. So if you give an espresso and you say it's going to taste like orange and passion fruit, they're going to taste it and they say, okay, that's good. It will give you 5 scores. That's basically what it is. It sounds very simple, but it's pretty hard to do that in 15 minutes. It's a pretty long time, I can promise you. So what you do is we went to Colombia to get the best coffee in the world, basically, because that is one of the 2 things you need to do. You need to have the very best coffee you can find. So we tasted a lot of coffees. We heard about this farm via. So we decided to go there and look for the best coffee in the world, which is actually what you see right here. This is one of the coffees I used. Actually grew here. This is the farmer, Don Rico. This is kind of a weird farm. This is not like a poor farm like you see in some commercials or something. This is just a rich guy and that experiments a lot with coffee, and that is why this coffee is so special. They take care about everything. They pick cherries at the perfect ripeness. Sorry, that's a line of my hair. And they really focus a lot on picking ripe cherries, and they have to pick cherries at the perfect time in order to make a perfect cup of coffee. It's very expensive. They also experiment with different varieties they grow there, and everything is super well organized, which costs a lot of money. Therefore, this coffee is also very expensive and not really doable for like a normal cafe. But for competition, it's great. So this is one thing. This can go on for a while. So we had the best coffee, and then we need to practice, which we did here. This is a garage we rented in Amsterdam. We just built the whole setup here, just the same measurements as the actual competition. So this is all measured and all made to the same height, etc. And what we do here is just basically rehearse. So we have like a presentation, we have the coffee, we have all the same equipment we're going to be using there, the same glasses, same tablecloth, and we just do it over and over and over until it's perfect. So then we went to Dublin, and I constantly say we because it's not just me. I have to be on the stage, but there's a whole team surrounding you, helping out, tasting, helping you with your text, etc., etc. So we all went there. We hired a van, drove up to Dublin. It takes a long time. And we were there, and I had to perform, which went very well because we actually took home one of the trophies. One of the 6 trophies, which is for a coffee guy like a dream, because if you're new in coffee and you want to be inspired, you look at the top 6 baristas of the world, and now if you go to the website, I'm also there on the site, which is super cool. I also couldn't believe it. I have some pictures that didn't put them in, but you can see the disbelief on my face. So I'm like, super cool. I talked about the varieties. You see the wine glasses here. If you have wine, for example, if you go to a restaurant and you order a bottle of wine, you don't order a France or California or something. You order a Pinot Noir from France or a Chardonnay from California. So you also mention the variety of grape. And with coffee, we don't do that a lot. And I thought it was time to start focusing on that as well, because it also makes a big difference in the flavor of the coffee. So what I did was I had 3 wine glasses in front of the judges, and I had also 3 wine bottles with 3 different varieties of coffee, all from the same farm, so the farm we just saw in the video. And I made filter coffees in those bottles. I corked them, and I just uncorked them right in front of them. And so you could taste 3 different coffees from the same farm. And the only difference was the variety of the coffee, and they were all completely different in taste, which was very well received because the judges really liked that kind of angle. I had a very white tablecloth. I had to be very careful not to spill anything. But this was, it all just went very well, and we took home a trophy, basically. And this was kind of cool for me because I think Amsterdam and the Netherlands really caught up with the whole coffee scene, I think. We don't look up to London anymore. London is kind of saturated, I think, in a way, with coffee shops, and here we're at the same level now as the rest of the world, I think. And this is also the reason why we also belong in the finals, I think. So pretty cool. And Amsterdam is, I think, in the core of that whole coffee scene in the Netherlands. So proud to be a part of that still. So I'm gonna remain in Amsterdam. On to the next. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do now. I have an idea, of course, but I can't say that. No, not yet. No, I give trainings now, and there's gonna be some new things coming up for sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for your time, everybody.